Hey, Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise to Yahweh in the name of his Son, which is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the nation of Israel, better known as Yashar, the great millstone, Israel being Yashar Allah, okay, Prince of the Power. Honor, love, salutations, and greetings to you, sincere Akim, as well. This is something that has kind of been stirring in the back of my mind, and Spirit gave me a little bit more understanding with it. It's something I used to say a lot, which was, the reason why you see men come into this thing and fall away is because they can't handle true love. They it's not in them, and that's ultimately what roots them out in a way, whether they'll admit it or not. And this is a few scriptures to show and prove that. Now, when you read about how Yahweh Shai was dealing with the scribes and the Pharisees, when you read Luke 14 through 17, you can see those examples, how they weren't dealing with morality, they weren't dealing with good character, they weren't dealing with compassion, which, the weighty matters of the law are judgment, mercy, and faith. The Most High is always going to be about judgment, but he's also about mercy, and he's dealing with faith within that. That's why the mercy is grounded, because their faith. Mercy is bestowed on men because of their faith. And for someone to be without mercy, they're going to receive no mercy. And the reason a person would be without mercy, without understanding and compassion, is because they don't know, they have no common love, because really they hate themselves. When you treat people a certain type of way, that's the way that you want to be treated. And you got guys that have come into this thing and didn't want proper correction. You try to tell them something, and it's always a buck up fest. They hear, the apostles or elders tell a story about, what they went through, and they think that gives them every right to go through and do what they did, but not understanding that just because the apostles or elders have said or done something, they have that experience. You're not supposed to go forcing your hands to do exactly what they did, because that's not your path, man. The Most High said he's going to give you what you can bear. So why are you trying to take on another man's path? See, it makes no sense. See? Now, this is I'm going to get to the scriptures. This is Galatians 5 and 13. The point being in 14, it says, "For brethren," see, there's a key, brethren, "you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another." You see, they got a lot of guys that do things, and they use their liberty as a cloak of maliciousness, just so that they can get one up on somebody in the flesh. You got guys that will use the law for their benefit, but will neglect the law when it's against them. They don't want the curses, but they want all the benefits. But by love serve one another, and that's where they fall short, because they do things for their own flesh, their own occasion, on their own occasion, for their own flesh, and they do nothing for others. They're not selfless beings, they're selfish beings, and you're supposed to be selfless. Verse 14, "For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." And that's the simplicity of the scriptures. When you really get down to it, dealing with the Most High, dealing with those of your people, which really your people, are your brethren, because you have Israelites that are Israelites by flesh, but not in the spirit. So they're gonna take your kindness and totally devour you. They're gonna overtake you. They're gonna monopolize you. So you don't gotta deal with them. And when I read that scripture, it brought to mind, and it made more sense. This one of my favorites in Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach 14 and 5, which says, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods." And that's really the point. Because you have these guys that you know, they they may call themselves brothers, at a time, or they might still have some guys in camps now that are the same way, that are getting, their morality and their characters, always being brought into question. And they're making the spotlight upon themselves. So you can see, when they're evil, when someone's evil to themselves, it really has you question, well, fuck, if he doesn't care about himself and his own life, you see how he treats himself, then it's no wonder why he's treating everyone else around him, just as bad. It makes perfect sense. So, you can get a guy that's, academically, I'll use the word academically knowledgeable in the scriptures, but when it comes to doing good, man, he can't do it. You're supposed to at every occasion do good, because when you do good to a brother, it's like you're doing good unto Yahweh Shai, which that's a good work to have. But you got these guys out here that don't understand this easy, simple concept, which is the same thing that the wicked scribes and Pharisees were omitting: the judgment, the mercy, and the faith, the lack of high compassion. And that's why Yahweh Shai was dealing with them, asking them, and they would ask him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? Because Yahweh Shai was doing cures and miracles and healing people on the Sabbath. And he had to tell him, he said, look, which one of you having an ox, or an ass, and it falls into a ditch, would you not go and retrieve it on the Sabbath? And they had them all stumped, because some of them did exactly that. Some of them knew exactly what that meant. So it had people messed up in the mind, man. They were all hot about it, because he was dealing with the morality, which was the whole point of the law. The law was set up to have a righteous harmony for our nation of people. And the reason why the law is the way that it is, and how it's set up to be harmonious and peaceful and kind to one another, is because we came from places in Egypt and stuff where Jake wasn't doing well to each other. I mean, it started off with the first patriarchs. They sold Joseph into slavery, man. Amongst our own people are found wicked men, man. Our own people would do us dirty, man. They do us worse than some of these heathens, a lot of times, man. So you get these people that call themselves Christians and stuff, but, and they say, God is all love, but they have no part of charitable works, man. And they don't know what scriptures tell you: when you do good, know to whom thou doest it. They don't understand, the power of this thing, man. You're supposed to be walking in the spirit, and not after your own lustful gains, man. So anyway, with that, I just wanted to share that realization on why you have guys that come into this thing that are just total is a total POS, a piece of crap, a piece of shit, pardon my French, but this is why, because they care not for themselves, so why would they care for those around them? Though they can say all this stuff, man, they are without charity. And if someone's without charity, man, they really have nothing. They don't even have Yahweh Shai. And that's why the Spirit always leaves them. Like I said, you can appear to be academically knowledgeable with this word, but there comes fine moments and points in our lives that show if the Spirit is dealing with you or not. And we see it time and time again, that a lot of these guys are found without the Spirit, man. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.